Hung quietly prepared something that filled the whole house with warmth. A bouquet of bright red flowers, a homemade dinner, and candlelight dancing across the smile he longed to see. What he didn't know was that in another corner of the room, Hoai Ca was hiding a little secret of her own, something that would leave him speechless the moment he saw it. 2 hearts, 2 silent plans, all leading to one special moment, their first anniversary. But who would be the one to make the other cry first? A surprise gift, a quiet pause, and then something completely unexpected happened. Hung imagined the look on Hoai Ca's face when she saw the bouquet, the way her eyes would light up, just like the first days they met. A soft smile crossed his lips, and a rare feeling of peace filled his heart. When Hoai Ca stepped through the door, she froze. The room looked completely different tonight. On the table was a bright red bouquet beside it, a small gift box wrapped with a white ribbon, and there was Hung, standing with a gentle smile. No words were needed. She understood everything. Her heart trembled, surprised, overwhelmed, and happy all at once. Hung walked over and handed her the bouquet, his eyes warmer than ever. The scent of roses filled the air, blending with the soft afternoon breeze, making the whole space feel still. Her hands shook slightly as she took the flowers. She could feel the care in every detail, from the little card that said, "Thank you for coming into my life," to the way Hung looked at her like a man who truly cherished what he had. Hung opened the box and placed a necklace in her hand. "It's only been a year," he said, his voice low and sincere, "but I want every year from now on to feel just like this." Hoai Ca lowered her head, tears welling up, not from sadness, but from pure happiness. In that moment, neither of them needed fancy words. They both knew that love isn't about grand gestures, but about genuine care in the smallest things. They'd had arguments, they'd spent time apart, but those moments only made today more meaningful. Hoai Ca held the bouquet close, breathing in its sweet fragrance. She looked at Hung and smiled, feeling her heart warm all over. Outside the window, the late sunlight fell across the floor, painting it with soft golden streaks. Everything felt peaceful, as if time itself had paused, giving space for a simple, sincere kind of love. Today, in a world full of noise, there was only the two of them, Hung and Hoai Ca. A bouquet, a small gift, and a love, just enough to make them both smile whenever they remember it. After receiving the flowers and the gift, Hoai Ca was still filled with emotion. Her eyes sparkled with joy, while Hung just smiled quietly, watching her as if this were the most precious moment of his life. He gently told her to sit down, then walked into the kitchen. Soon, the warm, familiar scent of food spread through the house. Curious Hoai Ca followed him and froze in surprise. The table was neatly set. In their small kitchen, Hung had prepared a cozy, simple dinner filled with love. There was braised fish, sour shrimp soup, and most importantly, a plate of fresh spring rolls, the same dish he had made the previous October 20th, when they had just started dating. Every detail brought back sweet memories. Hoai Ca sat down and smiled softly. "You still remember this?" she asked. Hung nodded, his eyes full of quiet pride. He wasn't great with words, but everything he did carried genuine care. He wanted her to know that to him every meal and every moment with her was more precious than anything else. The small room was filled with the sound of spoons touching bowls and the gentle breeze from the window carrying the aroma of dinner. No music, no bright lights, just the stillness and warmth of love. They ate together, laughed together, and shared little stories about work, about small arguments, and how they always found their way back to each other. Each story felt like a puzzle piece, completing the picture of their first year together. Hung watched her eat with a calm heart. She had been through hardship and loneliness before he came along, and now just seeing her smile made all his effort worth it. As long as she's happy, everything's worth it, he thought. Every now and then, Hoai Ca glanced at him, her eyes full of gratitude. She remembered the early days when Hung was just the guy from the floor below, who helped her carry heavy bags or fix her old fan. At some point, she began to look forward to seeing him every day. Love had come quietly, not loud or dramatic, but gentle and lasting, just like tonight's dinner. As the meal came to an end, Hung took a small bottle of wine from the cabinet and poured it into 2 glasses. The golden light reflected off the glass, casting a warm glow around them. He raised his glass and said softly, "1 year may not be long, but it's enough for me to know I've found the right person." Hoai Ca clinked her glass with his, a bright smile on her face. They drank, then looked at each other in silence. No words were needed. Their eyes said everything: quiet faith, love, and a bond that couldn't be replaced. After dinner, Hung cleaned up, while Hoai Ca helped the 2 of them, laughing and teasing each other as they worked. Every movement felt natural, familiar, like a habit formed over time. When everything was done, Hung wiped his hands and looked around their small home, now filled with laughter and the scent of love. The meal wasn't fancy or extravagant, but it was one of the warmest moments in their lives. It wasn't just a dinner, celebrating a year together. It was proof of how much their love had grown. From 2 awkward souls, they had learned how to care for and hold on to each other. After dinner, Hoai Ca and Hung sat by the window. The thin curtain swayed softly, and moonlight spilled silver across the floor. "Time flies. It's been a year already," she whispered. Those words opened a reel of memories the first rainy day when he covered her with his jacket. The small quarrels over trivial things. A bowl of hot noodles and a cup of ginger tea standing in for an apology. They laughed, recalling their trip to Dalat in the rainy season. Lost in the pine forest, sheltering under a wooden eave, he wrapped his jacket around her and endured the cold himself. "You always think of others first," she said, placing her hand on his shoulder. Hung just smiled gently, believing that love is woven from the smallest things. Hoai Ca took out a small box wrapped in brown paper. Inside was a classic watch engraved on the back. "Thank you for staying." Hung froze for a moment, then held her hand, letting warmth say what words couldn't. They opened their phones and scrolled through photos and short videos, their first handhold, the shy kiss under the eaves, the messy kitchen full of laughter. Outside, light rain began to fall, reminding them of the night they confessed their love. "If it ever rains, I'll still hold the umbrella for you," he had said. Today, that promise remained unchanged. Hung took out a notebook with an indigo cover. Between its pages were Polaroids and hurried notes. "She's mad, but still said goodnight." "It's raining. She brought me an umbrella." He placed the notebook in her hands. "I wrote these for myself," he said, "but I want you to know, every day, you're there." Hoai Ca fell silent. tears rolling down her cheeks, tears of being understood and remembered. To me, Hung said love isn't about distant promises, but choosing each other every day with patience, listening apologies, and never giving up. He looked at her steadily. 10 years, 20 years from now, I'll still do the small things that make you smile. She held his hand, smiling through tears. No matter what happens, I'll still choose you, the one who makes me feel loved and free to be myself. The rain eased. A few stars peeked through the clouds. Warm light bathed their hair and the watch lying on the table. The ticking seconds marked a new beginning. They leaned on each other, listening to the wind through the window, and their hearts beating as one. A year, not long, not short, just enough to understand, to forgive, and to believe. The most beautiful thing wasn't the number, but that every day there was still someone to hold the umbrella, to cook a bowl of noodles, to laugh and grow together. In that small room, love quietly grew stronger.